Lockheed Martin has a patent for a fusion engine they claim can be scaled down to fit inside the fuselage of an F-16 fighter plane. A fusion energy engine, guys. I mean, fusion, that's like a tokamak with gigantic magnets. It requires a ginormous building, right? Oh, that's not what we're talking about. They got the patent in 2018. Not only that, when they got this patent, they claimed that it would only take them 5 years to develop it. That was 4 years ago. Are they a year away? Who knows? They've been mysteriously quiet about this development, as you might imagine. Very mysteriously quiet, my friends. So just imagine this. What could it mean if you had a fusion engine like that for fighters, for bombers, for spacecraft? I mean, we're talking propulsion. It apparently maybe don't need air. They claim with this new reactor that they could actually power it for up to an entire year on just 25 pounds of fuel. And electrical wise, produce 100 megawatts of power, enough to run, 100 homes, guys, for a year. So this is crazy, guys. It's they call it the encapsulating magnetic fields for plasma containment. I'll show you the patent a little bit. I'll show you some diagrams. So this is not at all like a tokamak. It's some kind of system that as the plasma expands, the coils react to it and push it back in. The more it expands out, the more they push it. So it's got some kind of coupling with the coils. It's different than typically you see in magnets. And so this can be a huge game changer. They've been quietly working on this. They actually are working on it, my friends. So think about that. 25 pounds of fuel for a year. They're talking about aircraft that they would never have to refuel in their entire service life. Now, guys, hey, a pilot, this thing can fly around like forever. Except, pilots got to land every now and then, unless it's a ginormous aircraft with, bunks and everything inside. But, that could be done for the bigger aircraft. But, mostly this may have a big application for robotic aircraft, UAVs. But so, Greg, why are you talking about this? How about aircraft that can fly in space? How about jets that could just keep going? Could they do that? Well, you got to get up to 17,500 miles an hour. But if you're thrusting continuously, it depends on the level of thrust and just how long you thrust. You just get up and climb up into the stratosphere and just keep going up and up and up and up. You get 7,500 miles an hour. I don't know. Depends on thrust. So, but being a plane with the wings, it gets lift. So, does it need to breathe air? There's a lot of things that we don't get, but apparently not from what I'm seeing. But guys, this is very interesting. Now you got to bear this in mind. You got to say, Greg, there's no way. I'll show you a couple of this, and it could be done by different technology too. I'll show you another technology in a moment that is perhaps applicable to this. So, hold your hats, guys. I'm kind of excited about this. Fusion's always been this thing. It's been, forever 30 years out, and always would be 30 years out, right? But there's been a lot of breakthroughs lately, a lot of breakthroughs. And I always had hopes for electrostatic containment. I'll show you that in a little bit. Some of you may know that Freeman Dyson worked on a fusion propulsion system for a rocket that would be launched from Earth, exploding hydrogen bombs underneath a pusher plate that was sent up. They actually did a test of a vehicle that they flew with little explosions underneath it. Freeman Dyson is also the father of the Dyson sphere concept. Their idea for a spaceship with this concept was going to be something unlike these little lightweight, small rocket ships we have today. It was going to be like a battleship, 7-inch thick armor holes all around it. Tough, big, heavy. And he had actually hoped that he would get to ride this thing up. They thought they'd be taking crews of thousands. And so this was what was competing against one of von Braun's Saturn V rocket earlier on. But people just had a hard time with the whole idea that, we're going to just keep shooting atom bombs out the rear or hydrogen bombs on a pusher plate, and we're going to fly to orbit like this all the time. Would have been a little rough on the atmosphere, probably. Just a little, maybe. In space propulsion, it still might have merit. But one point I want to make about fusion as a propulsion system. For propulsion, it was pointed out to me by some Marshall Space Flight Center fusion propulsion engines. Yeah, we've had people looking at this for a long time too. You don't have to have unity like a power plant, because all you got to have is fusion actually occur. Because once you get to fusion occurring, and if you have to put more energy in it, you get out, it's going to shoot out a huge reaction mass jet and give you velocity. So it's not the same thing. But these guys are talking about a device that can turn into a power generator to run homes. I kid you not. And that's going to be their next goal, because they said that we can have it in 5 years in the aircraft, and they thought in another 5 to power homes. Now, the best laid plans of mice and men, they probably got into it and found things a little more interesting than they thought. So that might not be the schedule as of today. That was a snapshot of their optimistic people thinking some 4 odd years ago. But still, holy smoke, guys, they're really on to something. They seem to be. If this works, it could be a huge game changer. I mean, just imagine suddenly our aircraft got tons of electricity on board. They could be carrying laser cannons like Star Wars, flying like Star Wars, and this might be coming out faster than you can think. Now, for high def weapon system, yeah, that's a little scary. It is a little bit frightening, but especially if you're on the other side. But this may be space propulsion, guys. This may be systems that will get us in space. Maybe they got to alter it, do it differently to get in space. But we hadn't really, not too many people have been taking the idea of using fusion energy to launch a rocket to be very seriously lately. But, it may just be a matter of how many of these power packs you put on board. Maybe they won't give you enough thrust. Maybe you just won't get enough thrust out to lift the weight. But if you can't fly, why can't you just keep flying where you get a little propulsion and you get the wings to help bear lift? I don't know, guys. Much to be seen here, much to be seen, much to be known. There's a whole lot that we do not see or know about this concept. Now, I'm going to show you some pictures here in a minute, guys. Let's find where I want to put it here. Hang on. Yeah, we'll find the patent. There it is. I'm going to show you the patent, and I'm going to share with you a diagram out of this. So hang on a second. Let me share screen. All right, guys, bear with me. A lot of other channels edit this out because they got tons of time to edit. I got a day job and side ventures and other things, so it's kind of hard for me to do all that. Here it is, guys. This is the patent. It's real. They actually have a patent. Now, supposing things are supposed to work before you have a patent, but some patents have been kind of fluky. So this isn't having a patent is not a guarantee that they have a system that's going to work. But somebody thought it was close enough. Nuclear dogfight. Yeah, we tried fission aircraft, guys. We tried what we call the flying crowbar from, the Project Pluto. So, also known as a SLAM missile. The Russians came up with their version. Now, we didn't build ours because we was afraid after we tested, we couldn't shut the thing off and just keep flying around and radiating and stuff. But the Russians went ahead and built one. They called it Skyfall. We thought it was not a smart thing to do, but Russia trying to push everything went for it. And they had an accident with it, by the way. So may not have been such a great idea after all. This is supposedly what the reactor looks like at some gross level. Now, I am sure this is extremely oversimplified, but this thing, heat injectors, this thing was a fuel injector. This thing is supposed to fit in an F-15. Yeah, and I'll show you some pictures here, guys. Hang on. I don't want to dwell on all this because I don't want to get hit with something here. But look at this. Skunkworks team members at work on their compact fusion reactor. Why they give me a fusion reactor that small? If you're going to put it in the F-16, that's just about the right size. Just about the right size. And F-16, is a plane that was getting replaced. Well, if you can put a fusion reactor in it, people aren't going to, suddenly it's going to give it a whole new life. But that and some laser cannons, see, there they are, working around on it. Being small is a big deal. Well, if they can get an F-15 fuselage, that's a really big deal. Is somebody else would say, I don't want to say his name, the POTUS. Now, this is inertia electrostatic containment. And it's in a vacuum chamber, and that little wire ball there is providing electrostatic containment of a reaction. You see that little star inside of it. This is another concept for a much smaller reactor. So there's other ideas out there, my friends. This is something that's been worked on from way back. I believe Harrison Smith, look at this. I believe Harrison Smith worked on this, the astronaut who was only geologist to have walked on the moon from Apollo 17. I believe he was part of this at one time. I think it was the University of Wisconsin. So that would have been back in the 90s or something like that. So we got Bussard, who come up with the Bussard ramjet concept. Yeah, University of Wisconsin. There you go. Yeah, okay. Also Illinois, Urbana, Champaign. This is where HAL 9000, the computer from 2001 Space Odyssey, it's supposed to be built some couple decades ago. So it could be launched for 2001, right? Yeah, a couple decades ago. I'm going to go back to the future, guys. Anyway, so this is exciting, guys. There are concepts out there that are may change we may have some game changers on the way that we don't even see. There may be something huge just cooking under the rug and say, boom, one day, look what we got. I'm sure this is the kind of thing that the Air Force would like to keep kind of quiet. Of course, they probably don't want this much attention on it. It'd be nice if they just rolled it out of the hangar one day and zip, go around the world, and everybody goes, whoa, what was that? Whoa, how fast can it go? Well, to go to orbit, it's got to go 17,500 miles an hour. But look, guys, when you got this kind of fuel, you don't have to refuel and keep flying. It depends, of course, the thrust on the engines, but that wasn't a big engine. I mean, what if you just keep scaling these up? Can you put enough on there to get, for a rocket to fly, thrust has to exceed weight. Can they do that? Now, you don't have to do that for an airplane, though. Thrust does not have to exceed weight for an airplane. All you got to do is get it moving forward, and the lift in the wings gives you the kind of lift force, unlike a rocket. Could they make these things into a rocket, or can you make a space plane to fly to space? Well, hey, we're still years out. There's still a lot of room for them to play with this stuff. Maybe somebody will play with electrostatic concepts. I don't know, my friends, but we're coming to some very, very, very interesting times. All right, I got a lot of other topics to cover. There's a lot of news in space right now. Holy guac and smoke and moly. I got to do a story on ice on Mars. I got to do a story about I still got to come back and do this. Why we don't want the Chinese by themselves on the moon, guys. That's a big threat. I've been kind of working in the background for a while. I got to bring that out to you. And space politics, I got something to do on that. You're going to find it interesting. So subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all. And oh yeah, I want to bring a story because both NASA and the DoD are investigating UFOs. What is that all about? Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that too. So anyway, well, I'm saying thank y'all for watching. Greg out.